Leaders around the world have condemned the killings of 2 Israeli embassy workers in Washington. Many are blaming antisemitism. As police arrested the suspected gunman, he chanted "Free Palestine." The 2 dead staffers were a young couple planning a future together.
A suspect is arrested inside Washington, D.C.'s Capitol Jewish Museum as he chants pro-Palestinian slogans.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Just moments earlier, 2 staffers from the Israeli embassy in Washington were shot dead outside the museum. Sarah Milgrim and Yaron Lishinsky had been attending an event at the museum. An eyewitness describes what he saw.
I was walking by and a guy came up and looked like a gun. I couldn't tell what it was, but I heard it afterwards, the shots, and he shot this young couple. And he ran inside and yelled something. I couldn't make it out what he said. He just ran up. It was terrible.
Israel's ambassador to Washington said the victims were due to be engaged.
The couple that was gunned down tonight in the name of Free Palestine. It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center.
US President Donald Trump is among world leaders to condemn the shooting. On social media, he wrote, "These horrible DC killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end now." The Israeli government has ordered increased security at its diplomatic missions across the world. Meanwhile, a police cordon remains in place outside the museum in Washington as investigations into the shooting continue.
Alexandra Krioukov is Vice President of the Jewish Student Union in Germany. Thank you very much for being on DW News. Alexandra, in condemning this crime, Donald Trump said it is clearly the result of anti-Semitism. Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, we also see it as a crime of anti-Semitism since the 2 people were outside a Jewish museum. They were attacked after attending an event by the American Jewish Committee. And so it's clear to us that they were attacked as part of the Jewish community because they are Jews. But also, even if they were not, it would still be as horrendous to attack someone because they're part of a nation, for example, like being Israeli. But yes, we are sure they are attacked in an anti-Semitic manner.
What about other factors like Israel's war or how it's conducting its war in Gaza?
I wouldn't say that there is any justification for that. And also, they were attending an event which was trying to provide aid and help. They were both passionate for peacemaking. And I just don't think that this is the result of that. I think that this is the result of the past 18 months where we've seen screams for a globalized intifada. And this is what this leads to. And the attacker was influenced by the last 18 months of a wave of hatred.
Several countries are ramping up security at Jewish sites. That always seems to come after the fact.
Yeah, it's a big problem for the whole community. Oftentimes we have to pay for security ourselves. Oftentimes it's just not enough and it's not possible to secure all of us. And I think that's just the general problem of this wave of hate, that we never know where it's going to hit one of us. And we're thankful for all the security, but in the end, it's a problem of hatred and can attack anyone, anywhere.
The other thing is that synagogues, Jewish museums and schools already have strict security. Is it feasible to further bolster security, to go even further?
I think we have to do it. We have to try and see where we can up our security. We as a Jewish Student Union have been doing that over the past 18 months. Our events have increased security. We don't go from point A to point B without security. And we have to especially look at, when events are ending, how people are leaving. Definitely we can try it, but it's a problem that the security is on us, and we hope to get help from the states for that.
Alexandra, explain to viewers how you live like that. What's it mean for normal life for people subjected to such security measures?
I think a lot of us are basically used to it, so we're used to having the need of this security, but obviously it's not easy. We repeatedly had to cancel events because we just couldn't guarantee safety, we couldn't guarantee security. We repeatedly have strains on our financial situation because of the security, and it's just generally, I mean, imagine never knowing what's going to happen, and it's been that way before October 7th, but especially since October 7th, it's just, yeah, we think twice before doing anything, I guess, and that's hard on the community because this attack is an attack on the whole of the community because they were part of the community.
Thank you for joining us, Alexandra, and for your views. Alexandra Krioukov, Vice President of the Jewish Student Union here in Germany.
Thank you.
Let's go over to DW correspondent Janelle Dumalaon in Washington, D.C. Tell us more about the killing and the investigation into it.
Ben, so just as a refresher of the timeline, this was an incident that happened last night at 9 p.m. local time. Prior to the shooting, the alleged shooter was seen pacing outside the museum where it happened. The two victims were leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. The alleged gunman approached their group and opened fire. Afterwards, he went inside the museum where he was detained by event security. Now, the investigation is ongoing. Law enforcement is working with the Israeli embassy. We're told that the suspect is being interviewed by the FBI and the police. We're also told that this is being investigated as a possible hate crime. As for the suspect, his name has been released, but German media laws prevent us from naming him. We know that he is 31 years old and that he was not previously known to DC police. There was, according to police, no reason for him to have been on their radar.
Tell us more about the two Israeli embassy employees who lost their lives.
Well, as we heard there in the report, they were a young couple working for the Israeli embassy. Yaron Lashinsky, 30 years old. He worked as a research assistant for the political department of the embassy. Sarah Milgram was 26 years old. She organized trips to Israel. And we heard in the report there that they were engaged, they were soon to be engaged, which of course is another tragic dimension to this already very tragic event. But there is another one in that the event that they were leaving was in fact an event focused on getting aid into Gaza using Israeli-Palestinian collaboration. And given the circumstances in which this event unfolded with the alleged shooter yelling "Free, Free Palestine," it is also a source of devastating irony.
What kind of reaction has there been there, considering the attack comes amid a very heated atmosphere in the US over Israel's war in Gaza?
Yes, that's correct. So Israel's conduct of the war in Gaza has led to a very charged atmosphere in the U.S., as it has in other countries as well. We saw that in the campus protests that unfolded across the country. We see that also in the rising number of reported incidents of anti-Semitism. So the reactions have been focused on condemning anti-Semitism, condemning violence. We also heard from the Capitol Jewish Museum. They said the Capitol Jewish Museum was built to foster these ties between the Jewish community and outside communities, and that they condemn this anti-Semitism as well, but they're not going to let it get them down. And this is also the condemning of anti-Semitism and the violence was also a response that we saw from President Donald Trump, from J.D. Vance, and other figures of the Jewish community. This is a reaction that has been also reflected in the responses from leaders around the world. We know that there will be a lot of global attention on this investigation because I think everybody does understand this is the sort of incident that might not, isn't only just possible here.
Janelle Dumalaon there with the details in Washington.